pilot's license, but my dad would let me fly all the time.
That's pretty cool.
One of the places that we used to land on a regular basis that was a friend of his that had an airstrip right at his house on the top of a plateau of a mountain.
Oh, wow.
And my dad had an opportunity to buy a big chunk of that land from the guy.
Really?
He wanted to sell half of it. And my parents were seriously considering it, and kind of last minute they opted not to. A few years later, I'm sure that they wished that they had bought it, because that land now, most of it is what is known as Magic Mountain.
No way.
Yeah. It's that land.
Yeah, they could have made some cash.
Yeah, but it was all vacant land, you know, prior to Magic Mountain being there.
Yeah.
And one mountaintop was bulldozed down to make a plateau. And the guy had a real nice mobile and a nice little setup there where he lived, my dad's friend, and an airstrip right there on top of it.
That's cool.
It was private, so it was great. We lived in Torrance Beach, so we just get in a plane and just fly from Torrance just over to that place. Great flight, and tons and tons of times to Death Valley.
Really?
Where we do a little bit of mining, just tooling around and just checking things out, fossils.
Having fun with the family?
Oh yeah, it was a blast.
What did your parents do for a living?
My dad was an electrical engineer for Aerotronic Ford, and my mom was an emergency room surgical nurse.
Oh, so then there you go.
And the stories she would tell, and she'd tell them right at the dinner table while we're eating spaghetti.
Oh, thanks, Mom. Looks like her surgery room, probably.
Yeah. Well, of course, when you're emergency room surgical, you never know what's coming through that door next.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared for anything, and you got to hold it together all the time.
Yeah, your mom must have been pretty strong.
Yeah, she definitely was. Well, she was in the nurses military whack prior to that.
Oh, wow.
Now, aren't you going to ask me why if my parents did that, I'm doing this?
I didn't think of it, actually.
Huh?
I didn't even think of that, actually. What got you into it? Well, I know what got you into storage.
What got me not to follow their footsteps and have good, successful careers is we lived in Newport Beach, California, and I took more to the drugs, alcohol, and girls scene than I did the education, and paid for it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of fun, don't get me wrong.
That's a tough lesson, though, huh?
It wasn't the right decision.
No. It's a tough lesson.
Yep.
Your parents still alive, or?
No, unfortunately, they both passed away while traveling.
Aw.
On his boat. He was sailing around the world. He was making his second venture around the world. It was deep in a hostile area of the Amazon in Brazil.
Really?
Murdered.
Really? I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that was messed up. They were just starting their retirement. They were only a couple years into it. It's a shame because they planned it for 15 years prior to that.
Well, you gotta be careful when you go places like that, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
And my dad, being an adventurer and being a pilot and everything, had no problem with being a captain and learning the regulations and the laws of each country, each port that he was entering.
Yeah.
Exactly the ins and outs of what to do prior to getting there. He was very organized.
Sounds like a smart guy.
Yeah, he definitely was.
So,
Lost his parents when he was 13 and grew up in a military school. Military academy.
Like he got shipped off to boarding school or something?
Yeah, because of the loss of his parents.
That's sad.
And his dad was a doctor. He was the town doctor of Webster, Mass.
Really?
The only doctor.
Did you get to inherit their airplane or boat or anything like that?
The airplane was sold by the time I was out of high school. We were out of planes by that time.
Oh, you were young when that happened?
Yeah. This is from when I was probably 2 years old to 18 that we had the planes.
Well, I'm saying
when I was 18, my sisters were a little older and the planes were sold off by that time. We had other interests. The boats.
Yeah. So what do your sisters do?
They're again, they chose the choice of success.
Oh, really?
One of them is the head nurse at the Montana Hospital.
Oh, wow.
And the other one is the vice president of a bank, and and her husband is the CEO and founder of National Geographic television industry and a thing called Snag Films. Extremely successful.
Wow.
So, like I say, I chose a bad path, but it is what it is. You can't beat yourself up the rest of the life.
No. Well, you still got more life to live. You're
You
fine.
just do what you got to do.
Yeah, you're fine.
Then again, I got to enjoy a lot of things in my life that they never did. I certainly got to enjoy the simple life, and they never really did. So they missed out on that part, and I did get that part.
Right.
There is nothing like living on a boat on a beautiful delta with no stresses.
Right. No,
It's
I bet.
paradise. It really is paradise.
I bet.
You're not going to have any money. You're not going to make any real money, but